My name is Andrew Terraciano, and every day of my life, I carry other people with me, or at least their memories with me. For example, I carry my grandmother's paratrooper patch with me, all the way from her time in Vietnam to my time here in Pelham. Over my last few years at Pelham and in the Pelham schools, I've had the opportunity to experience some truly amazing things, some truly inspiring things, and some truly absurd things. These things I will carry with me forever. To say that the last year and a half has been easy is an egregious overstatement and disrespectful to everyone present here and all the work that they've put in. And as I look in the stands, I find myself inspired. But not only by the many faces here seemingly yelling, "We finally made it," but also by the friends and the truly wonderful people that I've met here. With each passing day, I gained a new perspective, a new lesson, and most of all, a new story. Patch for every person. To start with the truly amazing stories, I was on the field when we broke a 40-year losing streak against Harrison with the football team. Yeah, I wasn't playing. I was a water boy. But I had one of my feet on the field, so that counts. I saw a member of that same football team just a few months later drop as low to the ground as possible and win limbo at the Pelham Olympics for the third year in a row. I saw people who, to my knowledge, had interacted very sparingly come together every single year without fail to organize dinner orders, posters, banners, decorations, and even a music selection for Olympics. Most amazingly, I saw people show up to school nearly every day for 4 years and do hilarious, astonishing, intelligent things and pretend that it was no different than their routine. With each individual comment, I found a new point of view and added a new patch and a new series of stories. Like that time while in sophomore year, that in English class, I spoke to someone for probably the second or third time and found one of my best friends and closest confidants. The next year, though, I sat next to a different person in that English class and found someone that I will still get lunch with or go for coffee with. We consistently annoy each other, but I'm also certain that we can't live without each other. Then the inspiring. This group has gone through as much loss and sadness as any class has previously. I think that over the years, I've spoken to each person in this grade about their personal hardship at least once, honestly. From some people having stories of battle and conquest, internal or otherwise, and some people having stories of deep and acute loss. I see these people come together to serve the ultimate goal of humanity, to live life. It's a difficult task, but they do it day in and day out. One of the most inspiring things I've probably seen was the galvanization of the town and school communities around those experiencing loss. Recently, as many of us are aware, Pelham lost a family member, a community member, a good friend, and an earth science teacher. In the weeks following, you were unable to find someone that wasn't extending love to their families and friends. I've seen a man long confined to a wheelchair and completely unable to speak attend every single football game and every Pelham event that he could until the very day he passed. I've heard stories of people saving lives at this school and maintaining each other's friendships through terrible odds. And from this day until my last, I will remember and retell these stories, and I hope one day to be as inspiring. Finally, onto the truly absurd. I remember my freshman year very fondly due to the absurd. It was that year, after all, that I was assigned to a figurative social class in Global in order to understand the caste system. It took years for me to realize that it was just because the teacher didn't want to have to remember our names. In another class, science research, my friends and I created a notes document to prepare an experiment. We proceeded to set up more security checkpoints than the CDC, and trust me, we checked. One year, we gathered wreaths in a hand truck and raced down the hallways as we sold the holiday decorations. In English, we read Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. I studied the play, I looked over each and every line, I prepared costumes, choreography, inflections, but most of all, I prepared the diversion. Twelfth Night, like many other Shakespearean plays, involves a number of songs. I was able to convince one of my good friends to take that role. As a socially awkward freshman, I stood there thinking that I could truly embarrass my good friend. But, like many wonderful plans, it failed miserably. My joke was met with astonishment as my friend walked to the front of the stage and, without breaking for even a moment, sang in perfect verse, perfect grammar, perfect meter, and surprisingly average pitch. As funny as it was to me, his confidence in the eye of embarrassment was barely the surface of some of the absurd things that I've seen and experienced. The most absurd thing that happened, however, while we made these stories, was that the lines between friend and family became forever blurred, much to my joy. A number of years ago, I heard a quote that feels strangely appropriate. It was at the apparent death of a character, and it read, "I'll be a story in your head, but that's okay. We're all stories in the end, just make it a good one. Because it was, it was the best." Naturally, it's from Doctor Who, a series about a time-traveling alien that I tried to convince all of my friends to watch at one point or another. But the important thing is the stories and the patchwork people that we become with those stories. Now, I've officially broken the first rule of speeches. Don't talk for too long. Thank you all for coming today, parents, guardians, and otherwise, to see the graduation of one of the greatest classes to ever pass through this school. And thank you all, old friends, for making it the greatest class to ever pass through this school. I cannot wait to see all the amazing things that you do, and I know it will be the very best.